What's up, guys? In case I didn't record, sometimes my camera doesn't pick me up right away. Out here in Phoenix, Arizona, it rained last night. Looks like it might rain again. But I've been doing a lot of time-lapse pictures of the stars that go by. You see Orion go by these trees. And then where is it? Over here, no, on this side, is Polaris. And I get some pretty cool star trails. The P900 has this option on it. If you go to scenes and you hit the menu button, well, that's cool with the sun right there. You can select different modes, and then there's time-lapse photography, and there's like 4 or 5 different options. One of them is star trails, one of them is night sky, and one of them's like landscape, one of them's like city traffic or something. But it's pretty cool. You can really see what's going on, what direction everything's moving, and you can measure the angle that your camera's at from flat and determine what angle it is, and we can kind of start to piece together what's going on up there. What is this place? What is that? And I think something that we've always understood and was that it's not physical, it's spiritual, it's heaven above us, and it's not somewhere physically you can go, but spiritually it's where you're from. And I think that's where astrology comes from, and I think that's why astrology makes so much sense. I think that's why when I read my astrology with my ascendant sign, see, my ascendant sign is a Gemini, and Gemini ascendants are very kind of scatter-thoughted. They feel productivity when they get things accomplished in many very different aspects of their lives. Like, I'll be woodworking with trees that I cut down and making furniture while I have other jobs that I have to go cut down trees, and then I'm selling firewood, and I'm making YouTube videos, and I have that whole thing going and different things going on. That's what excites me, like having my hands in lots of different physical interactions, channeling my spiritual energy. And I understand that I am a manifestation. So it's my purpose, this body's purpose, to be a manifestation, but to allow it to be a puppet of the heavenly energy of Heavenly Father, of the sky, of the stars, that we understand how it affects us, because we just are who we are, but we become more of who we are when we are less resistant to who we are. And when we read, it's crazy. Get this book called The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need, or some other books. It lines up with how I feel like what, you can look it up online too, there's lots of good websites, but your ascendant sign is the most important thing in your astrological chart. And the moment you were born is how the energies were all lined up, and they're all lined up differently now. So you're a manifestation of your original creation, but you're also the evolution of that creation, and the spiritual energy is always coming to you, always. And it's good and bad depending on your perspective, but it's all good. It's just sometimes to get to good things, bad things have to happen. At least we perceive them as bad at the time. But we don't know the whole story. See, we don't know what death even means. And some of us, we can speculate. And there's near-death experiences and tons of accounts of them, and they're very, very seemingly in alignment with each other. And the truth has to be, cohesive and coherent, and it seems to be. So there seems to be something to it there. But what about the people that don't come back? We don't get to hear their side of the story. We don't get to find it until it's time. And that's the challenge of this game. That's the challenge of being here as manifested energy, I think. So, is flat Earth relevant to what I'm talking about? Abso-freaking-lutely. Because when you understand that the cosmology of understanding that National Geographic and many other sources have put out over the years from the research groups, primarily in Russia and America, have been not checkable and not verifiable. The findings that they claim to, the things that make us so much smarter than everybody else, might actually be the things that made us so much stupider than anything else. That we believe that carbon dioxide emissions is somehow bad for the planet. It's not necessarily very good for us or any of the other creatures, but it's certainly good for their food. I don't know. So, yeah. Is the Earth flat have anything to do with the stars? Kind of not really. Kind of yes, because people use that as a proof that the Earth is round, because we see the stars rotate, and you can watch the trail, which is, I'm at 33 degrees north, and it's like way up in the sky, like that high. It's not like way over there, like I'd kind of imagine, but it doesn't quite seem to be in the right place. And I just haven't seen enough independent people. Like, for science sake, it's gonna take a lot of us to really know more confidently what it is, because they'll take a star trail video from somewhere and tell you it's from there, and you'll just be like, okay. But if we have tons of independent researchers, just regular Joes that want to figure out their reality, putting out star trail images with their latitude and angle of inclination, that would be really helpful, I would think, of where this center circle is. And then the southern star trail argument, could that be formed some other way? I've seen some people messing around with glass bubbles and stuff and doing daylight things with glass paperweight, basically. Set it on a flat earth map, and you can get the sun to go around it in such a way that it kind of makes it dark on the other side, which kind of adds up to kind of what we would imagine if that map is somewhat what this place is, or at least this portion of it. But I think what the globe did is it shrunk our little world down into something that we could look from the outside in, and that was kind of the purpose, was to get us to wrap our head around the whole world easily. And once we wrap our head around where we are, then there's no more like sense of maybe mystery. They take away the natural tendency for humans to want to figure it out and become magical wizards and such, really controlling their reality and the energy and what they would naturally understand. Maybe that's why it's so important that we go to school, so that we don't learn what we would naturally learn on our own without being schooled or homeschooled. Just what kind of conclusions would a person naturally come to in a society like that? Now, in this society, the kind of conclusions that someone like that comes to is usually not good. It's usually finding themselves in prison because of some bad decisions. Because usually the reason that they haven't been schooled is because their parents didn't love them. But what would we experience if we came from a world where naturally our parents did love us, and naturally it wasn't to go to school, it was to learn your reality and to be part of this world and to help provide something to give in order to make a positive difference and gain spiritual energy and ascension. It's really not have to be that complicated, but we throw in all these speed bumps and they make everything go along so slowly, and it's like, oh, you don't learn about that till later because you haven't been sufficiently taught some other things that are prerequisite to that knowledge, because you won't interpret it properly. And it's like, why not? Why can't we learn a little bit of everything, a little bit more every year? That's kind of how naturally I learn, is I kind of get the feeling for the whole system first, just a web work, and then I start filling in the details, and then I have a whole world view that's true. While most people go into a specialty where they only investigate one very specific thing, and they become a bone doctor or something, and so they can't really consult you about your blood disorder or your hair falling out, because they're just a bone doctor. And anything to do with your bone, though, they're super specialized and they know every single little detail that can possibly be known. So when we live in a society such as that, there's no Ben Franklins, there's no Thomas Jeffersons, there's no Albert Einsteins. And I say these names, and I know that they're full of shit on many regards, but they were clever enough to people would buy their shit. So there's that. I'm not saying do evil by fucking any means at all. I'm saying be clever, but be pure. Come from a pure heart. And it's all about how you act. It's how you... I do that because I want to, not because it's what I am. Because I have a history. I've not made good decisions. I've made bad decisions. I've done wrong things. I am not perfect by any means. My past is riddled with mistakes. But I have learned along the way from those mistakes. And I have not let it stop me. I have been determined to succeed at accomplishing that which I desire to accomplish. And I'm doing it. And I've done it. And I'm enjoying it. And I have to keep raising the bar higher. So, let on, manifestation. I am a manifestation of the energy. And so are you. You are a unique manifestation. And if you give me your birth date and place of birth, and then tell me a little bit about your life, I know you so well already. Way better than almost anyone you know. And it'll blow your fucking mind. So, I'm just saying, that's all for now. Create your reality to be awesome. Allow the energy to manifest, and allow yourself to become your greatest version that you can be from where you are now. That's all you can ask. Do it. I love you guys. Namaste.